Hey guys, I'm back, and I know I was in the middle of deluxe series, and I'm supposed to be doing Opal, but Broken came out, so I had to press pause on the deluxe series to read Broken because I love this series so much. So Hannah McBride, this is her first series, you guys, and she knocked it out of the park. Like, it is freaking amazing. So Broken is book 1.5, so it's a novella between books 1 and 2. It's definitely a 5-star. The point of view switches between Rhodes and Larkin's. This is Rhodes and Larkin's story. Rhodes is Remy's BFF and Beta, and Larkin is Sky's BFF and roommate from the first book, from Sanctum. So, I love this series. Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. All right. So, review. I told you 5 stars. This is Rose and Larkin's story. It takes place over winter break from school, which is Granite Peak Academy. That's the boarding school that they all go to. Rose admits in the first book, Sanctum, by Hannah McBride, that he's in love with Larkin, but he doesn't think he's good enough. Like, he thinks he's too damaged. He's got too much stuff going on. So, and Sky is like, you idiot, like, make a move. So, anyway, Rhodes and Larkin are next door neighbors, but he's kind of been keeping his distance because he knows he has feelings for her and because he feels like he's not good enough. And so he's just being, I mean, if it wasn't for people in books doing dumb stuff, there wouldn't be any story. So, he's just being in a book. So, Larkin tries to kind of move on with the twins, which we kind of see in Sanctum. Circumstances put her and Rhodes together, and he finally loses control over himself and makes a move. But Rhodes is also dealing with some very powerful, hurtful things happen in this book to Rhodes, and he has to kind of learn and grow from those things. But they do get there happily ever after. So that's one thing you get in Sanctum and Broken. You get your happily ever after at the end. So, okay, that's the review. Go read it. It's awesome. I think there's some kind of weird thing going on with Amazon that they haven't put the paperback out yet, but they do have the Kindle. I mean, I had pre-ordered my Kindle and it showed up on the day it came out, which is October 30th. So, I don't know if you can get the paperback yet. As of right now, I think they're still having whatever issue, but the Kindle edition is available. Okay, so that's a review. Recap time, the nitty gritty. Okay, so starts off, and I'm just going to kind of give you some backstory. So Rhodes' mom left when he was little, okay? His father then became an alcoholic because his father was in love with his mother, but his mother wasn't in love with him, and I guess she couldn't deal with being a wife, mom, whatever, so she left. So Larkin is his next door neighbor, and she's actually in the yard kind of between their houses making snow angels one night, and he's like watching her from the window. And when she gets up, he thinks she goes inside, so he goes downstairs where his dad is passed out and starts picking up beer cans and stuff to clean up and take outside. And he runs into Larkin when he's taking the beer cans out, and of course he doesn't have a shirt because he's in the Guys Who Lost Their Shirt Club. So he's being a jerk face to Larkin because that's his, like, trying to push her away thing. She is being her sweet self. Like, Larkin is just one of those sweet, kind people that you just want to, like, hold and love and protect. So she is trying to get him to go to college, offers to help him study, and he jokes about, like, oh, I'll go to college so I can screw sorority girls. And Larkin is crying because it hurts her because A, he's her best friend, and B, she's in love with him and has been in love with him since she was like 13. Okay, so it hurts her feelings when he is talking about screwing people. So Larkin is crying. He tries to talk to her, but she's like done and you can't blame her, right? She's been in love with this guy since she was 13, and he literally makes it a point to screw everything that walks by. as a way to try and not deal with his feelings for Larkin. So she literally has to watch the person that she's in love with screw every girl he can find. So you kind of can't blame her for being like, you know what? And did. So the next morning, Remy wakes him up and has him come downstairs, and Remy and his dad, Gabe, are there. And his dad is like cleaned up and showered and has a duffel bag, and he's like, oh, I'm going to rehab, I'm going to get help. And Rhodes is just like, yeah, okay. Because I think Rhodes says this is like the 11th time. And that is, I have worked in substance abuse, so I will tell you that is normal for people to have to go to rehab many, many times before they ever get clean. It's just like people try to quit smoking many, many times before they're able to quit smoking. So anyway, neither here nor there, because if it's 5 times 15 or 1, you're still hurting the people that you love because of your addiction. So that's why I say neither here nor there. Okay, so once his dad and Gabe are gone, Rhodes is like, you can come stay with me. Remy tells Rhodes, you can come stay with us. And Rhodes is like, no, I'm going to stay here. And he tries to kind of get Remy to leave because he wants to kind of be by himself and deal with his feelings. And Remy's like, no, I'm not going anywhere. And Rhodes is like, dude, freaking go. Like, I just want to, And Remy's like, don't make me call my mama, because I will call my mama and then she'll come down here. And there's nothing worse than like the threat of the mama. So Rhodes lets Remy stay and help him clean up the house. So then we switch point of views to Larkin. And Larkin is shopping with Sky. And they're talking, and Sky is, if you remember from Sanctum from the first book, Sky was basically a prisoner and locked up her whole life. And so she doesn't know what to do with normal life situations. And shopping is one of those. And Larkin is trying to kind of help her, and she's having a hard time with spending money on it. Like, somebody gave her a gift card for Christmas and she just can't bring herself to buy something for herself because she's never done that. So Larkin's kind of helping her through that, and Sky asks her about the twins because Larkin's kind of sort of seeing the set of twins from Sanctum. And Larkin says that she didn't really feel anything when she kissed them, and that she actually felt like she was cheating on Rhodes. And Sky's like, well, that's because you love him. And Larkin's like, I wish I didn't. And says that she'd rather like hide her feelings and keep him as a friend than come out and tell him how she feels and lose him. And Sky's like, you really should just talk to him, because Sky already knows that Rhodes is in love with Larkin. Yeah. Like, y'all know, because you have lived this before, where like you can see two people have a thing and you're like, if y'all would just like. So Larkin and Sky they're still talking there at Shopping Mall. Larkin and Sky are both still having nightmares from the trauma that they had in Sanctum from Northwood Pack and Trace and Cassian and all that. And Sky says that she never saw Cassian's body because apparently the Norwood Pack took it when they ran off. So she didn't ever kind of get that closure. You know what I'm saying? And Sky asks Larkin about college and about Rhodes. And Larkin says, this is a quote from Larkin. I got so tickled with her. She said, Rhodes is one of the smartest guys I know, but he seems to be determined to wallow in unfulfilled potential. And I love that. I've never heard that before. That's awesome. Good job, Hannah. So, when Larkin takes Sky back to the Alpha house to drop her off, Rhodes is there, and he's like, I'll just catch a ride back with you. But the weather starts getting really bad. And Larkin is kind of uncomfortable driving. And Rhodes is like, I'll drive for you. And when they get out to switch seats, they kind of have like this moment. And you're like, and then the next morning, when Rhodes wakes up, there's like 1.5 feet of snow, and it's still snowing. And so Larkin calls him, is like, do you want to come over and eat pancakes? Because he's by himself, she's by herself, because her parents are visiting family in another state. And so here's the funny thing about this. I wrote Iowa, and then I crossed it out and wrote Idaho, because in the book, he's like, oh, are your parents still in whatever state it is? And she's like, haha, no. Like, he says, are your parents still in Iowa? And she's like, haha, no, Idaho. But then when I was writing the friggin' recap, I was like, Was it Idaho or Iowa? What are they in now? So now I don't even know where they're at. They're in some other state, okay? Either way, they're both by themselves. So she calls him and asks him if he wants to come over and eat pancakes. And he's like, yeah, let me take a shower and I'll be over there. So when he gets over there, she's dancing around in the kitchen making pancakes. And she about busts her tail. And he catches her. And they kind of have another moment. And it's all like super cute. And then Larkin asks him about his dad. And he kind of goes off on Larkin. But Larkin just responds with her kind, sweet self. And they go to his garage and work on a motorcycle that he's got that he's trying to put back together. And he tells her that after graduation, he's going to work at the local mechanic shop garage and get an apartment. And she's like, what about college? And he's like, I've already told you, like, I'm not college material. And she's like, because you don't try. So when they break for food, Larkin makes him spaghetti, which is his favorite. And while they're eating, one of the twins, Kyle, so the twins are Kyle and Connor that she's talking to. And one of them calls, and Remy says something smartass. And they finally have it out. All the feelings come out. Because she's had it, right? Because it's like, you don't want me, but you don't want nobody else to have me. And it's just like she, and I wrote, go off, sis. I did. Y'all think I'm playing. I wrote, go off, sis. Because he need to hear it. And she need to let him hold it. And she need to say it. So everything that needed to happen, happened in the kitchen with the pancakes. Yes. So Larkin starts to cry. And is just like, leave. And she's got her eyes closed because she just can't deal because, you know, she's just been hurt so much. And because she's just this sweet little... Love Larkin. Okay. Anyway, she is crying. She's got her eyes closed. And she's like, you should just go. And Rhodes grabs her face. And y'all know, when you're reading a book, and that man grabbed that girl's face, and you just like... He grabs her face and says, open your eyes, baby girl. And I said, oh my damn. Whew. I'm melting. Okay. She tells him to go. She's like, you can't help it if you don't have feelings for me. Just like I can't help it that I have feelings for you. And I get it that you don't feel the same way. And she's like, you should just go. And he just keeps saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And then when she turns to go, he grabs her and kisses her. And y'all, freaking chapter 4. And I didn't see this coming. And it's like just a kiss, but it's so freaking hot. Like, it is hot. It is hot. Okay. He grabs her and kisses her. And I wrote, somebody called a fire department, come put me out. I like them both. Because it's hot. Whew. So anyway, Rose grabbed her and kissed her, and they just start going at it. Rose is eating her face. She wraps her legs around him. They're up against the wall, grinding against each other. Then they're on the couch, and honey, Rose is doing work. Okay? He doing work. Whew. Okay. Then he kind of like teasing her, like he's holding her hands up above her head and like messing with her and kind of drawing it out, and this just freaking sexy. Like he doing grown man work is what Rose is doing. He doing grown man things. Not high school thing. He doing grown man thing. Anyway, he does all the things with his hands, okay? And I'm going to need somebody to call rescue squad to bring the defibrillator. So he tells Larkin, like, go to sleep. And they're, like, snuggling on the couch. And she wakes up after midnight. And she's like, you know, it's after midnight. We said we were going to talk. And he's like, yeah, we should talk. And then somebody knocks on the door. Rhodes goes to answer the door because Larkin is still like pretty naked. And when he answers the door, it's the twins. They came to check on Larkin because of the snow. And Connor says something smart to Rhodes. After Rhodes was kind of like territorial to the twins, to be fair. And they basically call Rhodes a hoe. And that song was playing in my head. You's a hoe. I said that you's a hoe. Anyway. And that they thought that Larkin was smarter than to fall for his BS. And at that point, Rhodes punches Connor. Yeah. And then Larkin has to like break them up and has to be like, all right, I think you guys should go to the twins. They go to sleep in Larkin's bed. And then the next morning, they're like, okay, well, let's talk, but let's go have showers or whatever. So Rhodes goes home. Larkin takes a shower. She goes over to Rhodes. He's still in the shower when she gets there. So he's still in the shower when she gets there, so she starts making omelets. Yes. And he comes downstairs, and he's like all snuggly and cuddly and kissing on her and holding her. And then they go to the couch to talk. And y'all, it is like, it is so beautiful and so magical and so perfect. And I'm just like in love with who? Both of them, the book, the series, everything. I'm in love with all of it. Okay. I'm here for it. Then Rhodes does all the things with his mouth. And I might have amnesia now. Like what's going on in there, girl? How you living? Because that is good writing. Okay. Then they're back in the garage. And then Larkin does all the things with her mouth. And I know it's October, but I might need all the fans while they doing all the things. I'm gonna need all the fans because they are burning me up. So then that night they actually like take the step, do the thing, whatever you want to call it, and yes, So the next morning, while Larkin is in the shower, Gabe and Remy come over. Gabe is Remy's dad in the Pack Alpha. They tell Rhodes that his dad's dead. Yeah. He killed himself in rehab. And I cried. Because even though his dad was an alcoholic and they didn't have a good relationship, whatever, that's still his dad. You know what I'm saying? That's still his dad. And that's still a loss. And Remy, Sky, and Larkin all stay with Rhodes to like be there with him and for him. Rhodes heads to the garage to work on the motorcycle and kind of, clear his head. And they all take turns kind of checking on him. And then Sky comes out to the garage and says, say the word, and she's gone. His mama shows up. Yes, y'all. Yes. He literally just found out his dad is dead. And now his mom that's been gone for like 10 years or 13 years shows up. Yeah. All right. WTF. So she tries to talk to him and it's like explaining that his dad called her the night before he killed himself. He wanted to get back together. He wanted them to be a family. And she's like, well, I'm remarried. Happily remarried. I mean, she don't say that, but I mean, she pretty much says that without saying it. She says, I'm remarried. And I guess when he finally realized that it's gone and he's never going to get it back, she's gone, he's never going to get her back, that's what pushed him over the edge. I don't know. So she offers for Rhodes to come live with her and her husband. And he's like, no, you can leave. And she keeps talking, and Larkin's like, he said you can go. And if you need me to physically show you where the door is at, I will do that. And I'm like, yeah, Larkin, get it, girl. That's your man. And you got his back. Go ahead. So Sky later on is talking to Rose, because Rose is, and this happens with kids, right? Kids always take stuff onto themselves and feel guilty for the crap their parents do. And Rhodes is basically like, they didn't love me enough. Neither one of them loved me enough to stay, so there must be something wrong with me, basically. And Sky is talking to Rose, and she says, freaking Hannah, couldn't let me get through one book without crying, Hannah. Not one. I thought, I'm going through this book, and I'm like, hey, I have not cried one time. And when I was reading Sanctum, I felt like I was constantly crying, having to blow my nose. And now I'm crying doing the freaking video, because Hannah couldn't let me get through one book without crying. But I love it. Okay. So Sky says, this is a quote from Sky, people are responsible for their own choices, their weaknesses, and their faults. They aren't yours, Rhodes. People have to own their own shit. And God knows, ain't that the truth, Sky? Yes, Sky. We all have to own our own garbage, right? So Rhodes is like, I need to get out of here. I need to clear my head. So he actually leaves town. He's gone for 4 days. And on the way back, he's trying to make it back in time for Larkin's birthday, because Larkin's birthday is New Year's Day, and so they always do her birthday party on New Year's Eve. So he's trying to make it back in time for Larkin's birthday, okay? And he sees this car on the side of the road with the flashers on, and so he pulls over to help. The car is broke down. It's a couple. They're werewolves as well, or shifters. I think they like to call themselves shifters in Hannah's world. And the woman is actually in labor. And Rhodes puts them in his SUV to take them back to their PAC medical center. And I wasn't the only one, because my friend texted me the same thing. When I was reading this, I was like, oh, it's a trap. It's the Norwood PAC. They trying to get Rhodes because he's Remy's beta. It's a trap. Somebody's trying to get him. But it wasn't a trap. That was just my suspicious mind. So he makes it back literally just in time. And y'all, it is the cutest thing, because Larkin has blown out her candles, and she's like, he didn't make it. And she's kind of standing off in a corner fixing to cry, or is already crying. I'm not really sure. And he comes up behind her and whispers, happy birthday, baby girl. And yeah, okay. And I wrote, I might have cried. I did cry. Because it was so sweet. He made it just in time. Okay, anyway. They race next door to his house and do the booty real quick. And then Larkin asks, if he's okay. She's like, are you okay? Do you need anything? And he says, yeah, a tutor so he can go to college. Yo. And I wrote, I'm not crying, you're crying. But we all know I'm crying. I'm crying. I'm a crier. It's okay. So here's a quote from Larkin. She says, you've always had me, and you always will. And that's the happy ever after, y'all. And that's the end of my notebook, too. But that is Broken. It is amazing. If you have not read Sanctum and Broken, please do, because they are amazing. I cannot believe these are her first books, because they're just on point. You will love them. Thanks, you guys. I'll see you next time for Opal.